You're now locked into Zone 32.
Grant Derflinger, Jake Miller, the infamous Drew.
Only on NeutralZoneInfraction.com.
End Zone Infraction.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Welcome to another installment of the Zone 32 podcast. My name is Jake. His name is Grant. That man's name is Drew. And we have another person with us, the founder of the Purple Pants, the man, the myth, the legend. His name is Will. Say what's up to the people.
What's up?
What up, what up?
We should just clarify that Thomas runs the Twitter account, though, not Will. So
That's right. Thomas runs the Purple Pants Twitter account. Will just brought the influence and the knowledge of the Purple Pants. Thomas handles that.
Depends on the night. Yeah, right.
it's about the content. It's Thomas Armor 22.
That's right.
Yep.
When he's not lighting the tiki torches, he's running the Purple Pants account. That's just what happens. But we've been gone for a hot minute. A lot of things have transpired, and now we're in the middle of free agency. So the Ravens have made a couple moves. Signed Marcus Williams from the Saints to a 5-year, $70 million contract. And they also signed the right tackle from the Jets, Morgan Moses, former Washington football team draft pick. I think he was a third rounder, if I remember right. But I could be wrong. But nonetheless, those are two moves made. We almost signed Zadarius Smith, but then we didn't.
No,
I couldn't tell you what happened.
Fuck him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what happened with that. I was digging. But nonetheless, Drew, I'm going to start it with you. Give me your thoughts on the offseason so far.
I've been very anti-EDC. I think that's pretty clear if you go back and listen to any episodes. He's done very well this offseason, though. Free safety was a definite. We haven't had that real center fielder in a long time. And, obviously needed a right tackle. Alejandro Villanueva retired. Thankfully, I hope he gets court-martialed and shipped off to Guantanamo Bay. But, I'll take the retirement for now. So you filled two big holes there. Z would have been nice because we definitely need an edge rusher. But, as we've said, fuck him. I think that Von Miller kind of fucked us with that signing. He saw the, contract Von Miller got and was like, yeah, fuck this. I don't want to be here. I want more money. Right now, if we can pick up an edge rusher, maybe a center, and then, fill the other needs through the draft, I'll be pretty happy. Things are going well. You got to extend Lamar, too. You got to extend Marcus Peters, make the cap move so you can go pick up maybe a Bobby Wagner and make another splash move. But it's early in free agency and things are going in the right direction for us. So I'm not going to, sit here and bitch about EDC for once.
That's a rarity. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree with that. Good job, EDC. Won't call you a bald midget fuck this time. So
well, I fucking converted Grant. I've been talking to him offline.
Yeah, he's been leaning me.
I got him to be, anti-EDC with me. We're going to come on here and fucking kill him after day one of free agency. And then all of a sudden, day two, he starts making moves. I'm like, fuck. So it's all Grant's fault.
That Morgan Moses deal was nuts. That is such a steal.
Yeah, I mean,
the Zadarius Thomas deal was good, but Z's a bitch, and he saw what happened with Von Miller. He saw what happened with Chandler Jones. He got greedy, and he played the agent card. I didn't know about the deal. Nobody told me.
Oh yeah, he knew about it.
The agent's not going to call the client. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how he can sit here and say, I didn't know. He could say, it was a verbal agreement. I didn't put pen to paper, so I can still get out of this. And, that's a chicken shit move, but at least you're being honest at that point.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I have no idea what happened. I was just, my agent never told me. It's like, no, your agent leaked that to Schefter while he was live on television. And then he announced it because he was pumped that he got you a 4-year deal after you came off of 2 injured years. And then fucking Von Miller went and broke the market, and you're like, oh, fuck, I want more money.
The Buffalo
I would like
Bills
to
broke the market.
Well, speaking of the Bills, I'd like to see EDC air it out because who's the GM for the Bills?
Brandon Beane.
Brandon Beane.
Yeah.
He went off today on the Commanders. He basically said that they were dirty because they had McKissick signed, and then the Commanders came back over the top. McKissick backed out, and he blamed the team. He basically said the team kind of went off script. Played not by the standard rules of free agency, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't be too upset about losing J.D. McKissick. Who gives a fuck, right?
No, and I mean, especially when you basically fuck the Ravens by paying, a 33-year-old Von Miller $120 million over 6 years. And I know that I think that contract, I think it really worked out to $3 and $55 or something like that.
Yeah, it worked out to basically the same as Chandler Jones. It was basically the same deal.
I mean, that's still crazy money for a guy that old who has been, Von Miller's great, but he's not the same as he was in 2050, Broncos. He's definitely fallen off a bit. I wouldn't, call him a top-end pass rusher anymore. And to give him that kind of money, you fuck the Ravens.
He looked good in the playoffs, but man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and everybody looked good with Aaron Donald. Like, I could probably,
Right.
get 10 sacks a year if Aaron Donald was lined up opposite.
The Z Smith deal, if the numbers were right, it was structured to be the same as those two deals if he played all the games and hit all the numbers. Which, when a guy misses 16 games, you gotta structure a contract that way. You can't just what he thinks he's going to go get Von Miller money. He missed 95% of the season last year.
Yeah, and I mean, you can throw a ton of bonuses at him, and you can put him in that. I think we would have gotten him up to 12.5 a year, even if he wants to get into that 15, 16 million a year range. That's fine. But like, you can't get that. You're not going to get that guaranteed anyway.
No.
Unless maybe a year. Somebody might give him like a 1 in 15 deal or something like that. But I don't think that.
Or unless like 22 women accuse him of sexual assault. Apparently, you get a lot of guaranteed money when that happens.
Yeah,
And then you can trade to the Browns.
230,
you can visit 4 teams and handpick your destination at that point.
and you pick Cleveland. You got Atlanta, New Orleans, Charlotte, and you pick Cleveland.
Yep.
They have one wide receiver.
Yes.
My guess is that
You
Cleveland.
know, people in Joku.
I can't imagine that like he went there for anything other than money.
Yeah, absolutely. He offered him the most money guaranteed ever. Yeah, it's that.
And it's just
There's no
like
reason why someone would go to fucking Cleveland. I'm just
you
saying.
got to pay me a hell of a lot more than that to go living for 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah, well, he could have gone, and the two teams that they said he was in on were the Falcons and the Saints. So you have 1 year probably of Tom Brady, maybe 2, and then you have 3 more years where the NFC is going to be barren. I mean, how long is Aaron Rodgers going to play? There's no. He's an idiot going to the AFC. He's got to go through so many quarterbacks. He's got to go through in the division. They're still going to be fighting for to get out of 4th place. I don't know. They're going to be duking it out with the Steelers. I don't see it. I don't see them being competing for that division title.
I think they're going to be better than the Bengals. I think the Bengals were kind of like a 1-year wonder kind of deal. I think that the Bengals are going to be more of like a 10-17, and I think the Browns are right in the game. 10 wins. Maybe that gets them a wild card spot. I don't know. I think we're still the favorites division. I know that all the Vegas people went nuts and have the Browns as like the favorites still.
Now they do?
Yeah, I think they were. I think they're plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl, and I think we're plus 1,200 now. So
good for them, because every time the Browns have any kind of expectations, they fucking fail miserably.
Hasn't that been the case for this is the 3rd straight year? That's going to be the case now, right?
Yeah,
I think 2020 we were the favorites.
Because but it was like almost even. It was almost even, but
it was the same. We were all the same, or ballpark, but it's
very close. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that the Browns are going to win more than 10 or 11 games.
I mean,
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under on it. Deshaun Watson, in his last year that he played in Houston, he's won 4 games.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he's a good player. I just don't see him being like the guy. He's better than Baker Mayfield, but that's not saying a whole lot.
Well, that's the problem is that they went from Baker Mayfield's a top 15, top 20 quarterback to a top 10 quarterback. Like, that's cool and all, but what's that worth? Is that worth 1 or 2 wins?
Right.
I don't know if that's the. And they lost a ton of talent. They lost their center. Right. They lost 2 wide receivers. I mean, they still have Hunt and Chubb, but I don't know.
And they lost a tight end too.
Oh yeah, they lost.
Yeah, they
both
did.
tight
They
ends.
cut Hooper.
No, it's Njoku.
Yeah, they kept Njoku, but yeah, I mean, you still got Myles Garrett on that side of the ball, so they'll be good. They'll be decent at least. But even then, I mean, the NFL still hasn't finished their little investigation. He's probably going to get suspended. He's probably going to miss a hot amount of games because
I don't understand how you can let him play at all.
Yeah.
I mean, 22. Granted, it's not going to face criminal charges. Now, 22 civil cases. There clearly something happened.
Well, here's the precedent too. AB missed 8 games on one accusation of sexual misconduct and 1 accusation of intimidation. Right? That was basically the
charge where he supposedly punched the driver in the face.
Right. So, but 20. We're talking about several different women. How many women is it? It's 22 different cases. 22 women?
Yeah, so it's 22 women. 9 of them tried to press criminal charges, and I'm pretty sure there might be more than 22 women, but a bunch of them were, it was kind of like they're like, it's a he said, she said, like he made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know if he did anything criminally. So they didn't, they're not in any kind of civil complaint, but they kind of backed up the story. So they're more like, I don't know if, like, what do you call that, like a MO witness saying that, yeah, this is definitely something that he did to me. I just don't feel
Right.
like he, went past that point of to collect money. I don't know.
Okay.
That's going to play out, it can't play out well for him. You can't have 22 accusations come out of that scot-free.
I mean, at the very least, he's going to be on the exempt list until they figure it out.
Yeah, I'd
I
imagine
mean,
so.
Ray Rice never played again, and granted, it's a little different of a situation, but like, I don't know. I mean, he never played another snap football again after that video game, and that was just punching his wife in 22 of varying degrees of sexual assault. That's pretty serious. Like there's not much wiggle room. You can say that they're all lying.
No,
Yeah,
nor should you.
No,
Exactly.
but like, I mean, you have like the Trevor Bauer thing in baseball. Like that's one woman, one accusation, and so like he can say, okay, I beat that one charge, and people are still gonna call him a bag of shit or whatever, but. It's one person versus 22. Like it's just that's a jaw dropping number. 22 women.
Right. Well, and like I said, there's precedent. 8 games for one accusation similar to Deshaun Watson's in nature, and then 2, I don't know, punching a moving guy. I don't really care about that, but the intimidating the woman, like kind of threatening her family, that's a serious thing. But when you talk about 22 different women, that's exponentially worse than AB's situation. So, I mean, the
And I know
precedent's there.
some of
Eight
those women are
games.
talking about too, like Deshaun Watson came after them after the fact, asking them to sign NDAs and shit. So I'm sure that there's got to be some kind of witness intimidation attached to that. So I mean, it's really
If they that, there's got to be documents too.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is that you can. There's no real physical proof of what happened once they were together, but there's a ton of circumstantial evidence that basically puts them in the same room when the women say it happened.
Right.
There's plane tickets, there's text messages exchanged or Instagram DMs that say, hey, I'm going to be here at this time, and other payment going to them on the day that they claim that they worked on them. So, I mean, it's very clear that none of these women are making up that an encounter happened. So. Again, it's really hard to get away from that. In the AB thing, there was, questions of whether or not any of these encounters actually happened.
Well, and there was pretty clear. I won't say clear. There was definitely the very distinct possibility she was doing it to extort him. In that case, they had evidence that suggested that the physical interaction that between AB and that woman definitely happened because there were text messages of him talking about it, but the nature of it is still kind of it's hazy. You don't really know, but it's pretty clear. I think that they produced some sort of evidence that the mother and her were plotting some sort of extortion plot against him. So you really never know on that one. I'm not trying to make excuses for AB, but just in comparison, it's a lot. I think it's a lot different.
Yeah, and it's again 22 versus 1 is just like again. I mean, I say it every time. Like 22 is a fucking
right.
It's hard to cast reasonable doubt upon that many accusations. Kind of like with Bill Cosby and was it 50 women, 45?
Yeah, or
something
Harvey Weinstein
like that.
had the same number, and it was kind of like, all right, is Harvey Weinstein guilty of all of those? I don't know, but there's
Maybe
just so many
not.
allegations that it's hard to say that he was correct all of those times.
Right.
Exactly. So there's that. Moving on from Deshaun Watson to the NFL draft. So the Ravens are picking at 14. We have 5 fourth-round picks. If I recall, the last time we had that many in a round, not in a round, but in a draft, I believe it was 2016, and there was a couple of hits and more than a few misses within that. But anyway, pick 14. I'm gonna start with Grant because he's been quiet over there for a little while. Who would you like the Ravens to draft at 14 today on the date before the draft?
Jermaine Johnson II. Feels a huge need. He's an edge on the pass rush. He's got a skill set. His body type is like a Julius Peppers type. Like he's an edge setter. So like not only does he pressure the quarterback and he converts a lot of pressures to sacks, he also contains the edge. And that's a huge part to be opposite of Oweh because Oweh's kind of that speed rush. He's he pins his ears back and goes. He can play stand up or he can put both hands down. But if you have that opposite side, kind of like how, like the Jared Johnson role, the Pernell McPhee role where it's not super flashy. Courtney Upshaw, it's not super flashy, but it's really important on the run game because the majority of teams run to the right side. I mean, depending on field position, things like that. But if you look at the percentages, majority of the teams run to the right side. That's why your right tackle is your mauler usually. And, what he can do and what he's capable of, I think, he's got the highest floor. And he's still kind of raw. I mean, he came from Georgia, went to Florida State. ACC was kind of down this year. But he did what he had to do. Showed up at the Senior Bowl. He looked like a man amongst boys at the Senior Bowl. You know, I heard multiple articles that he was the one that pretty much stood out. I think we can't really go wrong at 14 though. I think there's going to be a lot of options. I really hope EDC doesn't mess this up because there's even enough flexibility with the depth. And now you got a couple teams like Pittsburgh, Seattle, you know, maybe even Philly. You know that would be open to kind of moving up. You know, we can move back, maybe gather another second, third, you know, maybe a late fifth, sixth, something like that. Be able to move around, still kind of get the guy. But maybe, you know, this is a draft where anywhere between, you know, 32 and 62 are going to be not far spaced out talent wise between depending on the positions. I mean, it's deep offensive line, deep edge rushers, deep with cornerbacks, deep with wide receivers. Like, I mean, there's just so many. It's the positions of need for us. You know, it's shallow in running backs, shallow in quarterbacks, but we don't need that. Center is another one that's probably not very deep. We do need that. So, I mean, trading back for Linderbaum would be an option as well. But, you know, you can't always pass up on a corner either. You know, Stingley or Sauce Falls, you got to think about them there. And you know that man Sauce will come down and lock down the island on the side. I don't care if he played against Bette Midler. He could have been against Bette Midler out there, and he's not giving up touchdowns, and that's A-okay. You know, that man is an absolute – I don't care who he played against, to Pee-wee, whatever, to not give up a score in 3 seasons at any level is insane. And, you know, he's a lot of man-to-man. He's got a lot of talent. I know he's not your guy, Drew, but –
Yeah, but when you're manning up me and the opposing quarterback is, you know, some guy who is literally working at a local Dunkin' Donuts right now, like, I understand he's got, you know, he's 6'3", he's, what is he, like 195, and he runs fast. He's got a ton of physical
10, 15
tools.
pounds. He put the clamp on Jameson Williams, who arguably they said would have been probably a top 10 pick in the draft. He put the
absolute 300 yards rushing, and we're never in that game. So
doesn't he have like an 80-inch wingspan too? I mean, that matters.
Like,
from a physical standpoint, Sauce Gardner's fine. Like, I'll never sit here and say that, you know, somebody can't coach him up into being a lockdown corner, but like when you're locking down, like, you know, Jack Sorensen. And these, you know, I mean, I have a whole list here of names that I've just never fucking heard of in my life.
He's a lunch pail guy. Runs great routes.
There were rosters, I couldn't even find who the leading receiver was because the school doesn't even store the stats on their website. Like Austin P doesn't store their football stats, and like that's who, you know, Sauce Gardner's locking down. It's like, all right, you know, and then, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm just one of these like, oh, I watch the tape nerds because, you know, I fucking hate people like that. Like, I'm not going to go jerk off to a 18-year-old playing football and watch 8 hours of his tape, but like, you could tell that, you know, he used his athleticism to bail him out. And that's fine. You know, somebody could teach him better technique and, you know, maybe he's great. But I just don't see that translating to the NFL. I'd rather take like a Stingley, you know, somebody who was up against top-notch talent and, you know, repeatedly did well against that rather than
he regressed season after season. His last 2 seasons, he regressed both seasons. And, I mean, he's got, you know, some kind of injury concerns. I like Stingley a lot. His freshman year, I think he just put himself on a pedestal and – you know, kind of went from there. But the thing with Sauce, too, is in our defense and what McDonald did. I started watching, you know, some Wolverine, you know, replays and stuff, trying to see kind of what he does on defense. And with what his skill set does with Marcus Williams as well, playing over the top, that gives him an opportunity to gamble. He kind of gambles a little bit. He's not afraid to come up. He blitzes, those types of things. You can kick Marlon back inside. And you still have Marcus Peters out there. I mean, I think those are good guys to have surrounding him to bring out the best of what he could do. I think he would benefit in our defense more than any of the top 4 corners.
And see, I look at corner as, you know, I don't really want Stingley either, if we're being honest. I don't want to take a corner at all. If we're going to go that route, I would rather pay like a Stephon Gilmore, who's kind of still sitting out there and nobody's really touching him right now.
I was thinking him today.
I mean, I would rather pay him and have him come in than take a Sauce Gardner or a Stingley and hope they kind of slot into the defense and do well. You know, I'm really looking at like a David Ajabo, who again just blew out his Achilles today before we recorded this. Jermaine Johnson would be fine. You know, I would be okay with a lot of guys. I think Linderbaum would be a solid pick. I think that they see Macari as their center next year, though. I think that's why they paid him. Supposedly, they paid him right after Bozeman turned down an extension. My guess is that they see Macari as our center. But there's a lot of ways to go. And like you said, the problem with EDC drafting-wise is that when he's had a choice, he's fucked it up. You know, he picked Hollywood Brown as the first wide receiver off the board. That was a terrible fucking pick. And, Queen, Owe, and Bateman kind of fell into his lap, and those were no-brainer. So I'm hoping a no-brainer pick falls to him at 14, and that's what we go with. Like a Kyle Hamilton slips on the board or something like that.
That would be great. Yeah, Kyle Hamilton would be great. What about
Kayvon Thibodeau? If he starts falling to like the 7 to 10ish range, you got to move up for him.
Did you read the story about him, about why he's falling? It's bizarre to me, but they're saying that he's not as big on, in person as they thought. And that, they were looking at him as like a Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney type with the way that he shows up on, TV.
Wasn't Doomerville like 5'10"?
Yeah, that was the most bizarre thing that I read. I thought it was character issues with
Dwight Freeney was small too.
Yeah, I guess Thibodeau has made some, weird comments of like, I don't love football, and that's not exactly what he said, but that's how people were translating it. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, give me the guy with the mental red flags because he comes to Baltimore, he's going to love football. Like, I'm not worried about that. But they're talking about they think he's undersized and that he doesn't have the, the Myles Garrett body type, and that's why he's not going to be a good NFL player. And I'm like, that's so fucking stupid to not take a guy because of how he's built. Again, people
who has the Myles Garrett body type? The guy's a fucking freak.
Yeah, he's
an action figure.
He is. He fucking is. And that guy in the suit, like, go back to the draft last year when he was announcing that pick.
Yeah. You seen him dunk on people?
You can't even call him fat man in a little coat. You have to call him buff man in a little coat just walking around.
He's like Sean Kemp out there at the Lifetime Fitness basketball court.
Before he became Sean Klump. But, yeah, I hear you. Will, what are your thoughts on this matter?
Well, I've been a Jabbo all the way, and then today fucked that up. So, I mean, I don't know. Like Grant said, I don't know if we can really go wrong at 14. I know one guy that Drew does not want to see drafted at 14 is Jordan Davis, but if he's around, I feel like EDC is going to be tempted.
I'm actually coming around to that idea, and that's only because that was after we signed Z, but then Z backed out. If we have an edge rusher coming in and we draft and we sign like a Bobby Wagner type too, I would be okay with Jordan Davis. I know we signed Michael Pierce too, but I still think you need a second guy inside and you need somebody who's going to push the pocket, and he can definitely fill that role. I like his teammate Devontae Wyatt better, but I would live with either one of them.
I just like the idea of having a guy that athletic and that big in the middle of the defense. I think it creates a lot of opportunities for our super athletic edge guys. Like Hayes, I think could benefit from it because Hayes has a little more growth ahead of him than Owe. Owe, I think they were scheming against, and Wink's system did not really help Owe a whole lot. So I don't know. I wouldn't even be mad if we traded back out of 14 because if the guy we need isn't like a cornerback, like we were saying, like Stingley, I don't know, might be kind of a reach at 14. I don't think Sauce is even going to be there at 14. He's going to go probably in the later part of the top 10. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know who I want anymore because I was all in the job.
That's all fair.
One is, we take an offensive tackle. Like, I know that we have Stanley and I know that we signed Moses, but you saw what happened last year because now we're looking at John James is our backup tackle. And that guy's played 60 snaps since 2018. So do you trust that guy stepping in and, playing potentially right or left tackle if somebody goes down? I'm not sure.
Right, and we don't want Phillips outside anymore.
No, I don't know why.
Absolutely not.
No way.
Oh, fucking Ben Powers is still on the roster. I forgot to bitch about that. What the fuck?
We beat the shit out of that horse last year. He has yet to be released. So again, hashtag fire Ben Powers into the fucking sun. Fuck that fat dude.
$2.5 million. It's the easiest $2.5 million you can create against the cap is to get rid of that fucking.
Exactly. Yeah, fucking garbage. Nonetheless, I will say to the Marquise point, because as you know, I won't call him his nickname just because the man hasn't earned it. I don't care that he's called that because he's from Hollywood, Florida. Fuck that, son! I'm just saying. It could have been worse. Could have been N'Keal Harry, or it could have been. Actually, that's the only receiver I can think of off the top right now. So you know what? That's the one bright spot. It's like
N'Keal Harry's not retiring to start a Twitch stream. I don't know.
Well, that's also true. That is fair. So you know what? Touche.
Yeah, we haven't recorded. I pulled that. I pulled that giant scheme off on the internet. That was the most bizarre thing I've ever been a part of.
To where he was responding with, and then who was it? PFF or somebody did like controllers.
Yeah, so I know the kid who made that graphic. That was a inside job by me. But yeah, I know the person who sent that tweet out, and that was orchestrated by me. It was the fact that I had some fucking fantasy football nerd with 500,000 followers tweeting out like, my birdies are telling me that Marquise is going to retire. I'm like, you are a fun pal.
That was that fuck Michael Fabiano, right?
Yeah,
If you remember.
I'd
Yeah,
never heard of him before, and then he's out here talking about that. I'm like, you are fucking. And it's not like I put like a Schefter profile on or something like that. Like I had my normal Twitter avatar. Like it's me. It's my face photoshopped onto fucking Tony Montana. Like I just don't. I don't know how the fuck somebody could, ever fall for that. But here we are.
Exactly. Nonetheless, I mean, yeah, that dude was always like a real Captain Obvious fuck when it came to fantasy football. I mean, I used to read him when I first started playing. Then a couple of years later, you kind of realize you're just giving me the easy picks. What the fuck are you doing? Oh yeah, don't start this defense against a good offense. No shit.
Well,
So,
guys, it tells you to draft Patrick Mahomes as the first quarterback off the board and as a profit as well.
yep, pretty much. I mean, the one time Mahomes was a value in fantasy was his rookie year, and that was because in the league I was in, he went undrafted. Godspeed. Everyone looked it. Then the next year was Lamar, who was the value pick, and then the next year after that was Josh Allen. It happens every year. From a fantasy perspective, don't take a quarterback early if you fucking have to. I'm just saying, you can find somebody. Last year it was that fuck Burrow, who wound up being a great value and won me my fantasy football championship. So, man, what can you do? Don't take quarterbacks early. And don't follow Michael Fabiano's advice, because he's not good.
Not smart either.
No, not at all. But yes, personally, I've like I said, I've never really watched a lot of college football. I did when I was a kid, and when I was a kid, I watched Brian Greasy and Charles Wood. So I mean, you can figure out who that was my lineage way back in the day. And then of course I became a metal kid, and I was like, I don't want to watch sports. And later on, I was like, I'll watch sports again. So that's my story. But with my uneducated ass, if I had my pick at 14. Like Drew, I would prefer his teammate Wyatt instead of Jordan Davis. Wouldn't be mad at either pick, but I mean, that penetrating three technique with our defense and making the quarterback escape to his right with always athleticism, so it would be a very good recipe for our defensive line and being able to hit Burrow and Trubisky, kissing titties Mitch, and maybe Deshaun Watson or maybe Case Keenum. We'll see what the NFL rules on that.
Well, I think they keep Baker till they know. I mean, that's got to be
definitely.
You're not going
Probably
to get a meaningful pick for Baker. I feel like you're better off holding on to him.
Right, and not to mention Baker has all the incentive to ball out just so other teams will want to come calling, because he might not want to be in Cleveland, but at the same time, if he plays like shit, somebody's not going to want to pick him up. Either that or the Browns let him go and they pick him up. Someone else picks him up for $3 million, $4 million. It's incentive for him now just to ball out and get out of Cleveland.
He does have some leverage though, because they need him. If they have any tip off that Watson's going to be suspended, they have to make a decision. They're not going to carry Case Keenum and him. Case Keenum, I think, carries an $8 million cap hit, so they're not going to carry three quarterbacks that are eating up $34 million.
I think
they can't do that.
Too low, but it's still
it is. But Baker's a fifth-year option, so it's going to be 24.
I think he's 23 all pro.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's not a lot for one quarterback when you add then Case Keenum making 8, and then you add Deshaun Watson's. I think his base is the minimum, so it's 1.05, and then it's going to be the signing bonus, whatever the proration of that is. So it's a lot of money invested in the quarterback position. So if Baker wants to hold him over a barrel, he can at that point, because they need him. They can't go a full season with Case Keenum. We know that.
No, and I think it, like we said, it's in his best interest to play, but is he gonna, make it worth his while, some kind of assurances that they're gonna let go of him or trade him when Watson's back if it's a short season. I could definitely see him, playing hardball with them, especially with the whole publicly requesting a trade because they called him a child, and you pick up a guy who's got 22 sexual assault allegations. Like, that's kind of childish.
True. Him saying he wants to go to the Colts is one of the funniest things of all time. Like, dude, you can't tell them where to send you.
Yeah, they'll send you somewhere else. They'll send you this.
You're on a rookie contract.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
I do get his whole. I think he said the Colts because he wants to start, and that's fine. So he picked a team that doesn't have a starting quarterback right now, but it's still like, Seattle comes calling, like, you got to go there, and you don't have to sign an extension or anything. It's literally a 1-year prove-it contract. So I would actually rather go to Seattle because I feel like that's in your division.
Yeah, it really is.
There's plenty of places he could go. I mean, there's plenty of places he can go.
I mean, shit, Seattle, New Orleans. I mean, there are various teams that could use an upgrade over their current signal callers. So I mean,
Carolina.
there it is. Yep,
Yeah,
Carolina, absolutely over his fucking draft class teammate Darnold, the
Yep.
ginger fuck.
Yeah,
I can
still
say.
can't believe that guy's.
Yep. Well, it is what it is. It's funny too because he was the collective can't miss prospect in 2018. He's the guy. He's the chosen one. He's going to be the best quarterback coming out of this class by pretty much a majority of the draft analysts that I can remember leading up to that draft, and he is not.
They were all over him and Josh Rosen as like these, cerebral quarterbacks that could pick apart defense, and both of them fucking.
Yep. Is Rosen even still in the league? Is he Matt Ryan's backup still, or is he a free agent?
Yeah,
He's on
I
practice squad.
think they did re-sign him in Atlanta.
Did they?
I think they did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was on Tampa's practice squad and then Atlanta's.
Yeah. I think he got like a $2 million deal or something like that.
I'm gonna make the other 10 teams regret not drafting me by being the best clipboard holder money can buy.
Yeah.
I mean, what he needs to do is commit to being Chase Daniel. If he has any intelligence in his brain, that guy's probably made $30 million, maybe more. And I mean, he probably takes 15 snaps a year. He has zero risk of injury. He's going to retire super rich with zero injuries. He's going to have a great life.
I mean, he got a ring with KC. So.
Yeah.
Yep, did.
Oh no, sorry. Chad Henne was that.
That was Chad Henne.
Yeah.
I feel like he was on.
Oh, he was with the
Championship
Bears
team?
that year. He was with the Bears that year.
Oh yeah, he was with the Bears, the Trubisky, and they went whatever, like 13, the double doink year. He was,
That's right.
yeah.
What was
You're
it?
right. Because they got rid of Glennon and had Chase Daniels.
Yeah, that should be his aspiration. That or like Charlie Whitehurst, who never took a snap but just sat behind Phillip Rivers collecting paychecks year after year after year in San Diego.
You can pull up Matt Schaub, and you start, suck, and get a backup job for the rest of your life. He's at least playing it right, that he's not, holding out for big money or anything like that. Like he's taking whatever contracts I'm going to collect. I can respect that.
And who knows, maybe he'll overtake Matt Schaub as the pick six master. Guy who you can bank on him throwing a pick six multiple times a year.
What was it? Schaub had like 8 straight games.
Hilarious.
I think Josh Rosen had 2 pick sixes last year, and he only played a handful of snaps.
Yeah, I want to say
he had at least one.
I think he played 2 halves of football. I think he came in twice for Matt Ryan getting that shit. And
I think he threw a pick six both times, or he may have thrown 2 pick sixes in one game. In 3 passes, he threw 2 pick sixes, something like that, or at least 2 picks. One of them was a pick six.
3 attempts. I think only one went back, but still, like it was bad. It was one of those ones.
It was
where Matt
insane.
Ryan threw 2 picks, and a certain analyst that we all like to make fun of. Was like, I'll get Matt Ryan out of here and put Josh Rosen in, and then Josh Rosen came in and did the game, so it was great.
He threw a pick six on his first, not just his first attempt, his first snap.
Yeah, it was bad, and it was a bad pick six too. It wasn't like
horrible.
Somebody made it down the ball. It was like he way underthrew somebody running an out route, and somebody stepped in front of it to the house like untouched.
Yeah, any one of us could have done it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm confident I could make that throw.
No, I'm saying any one of us could have jumped that throw. That was that bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is just. I mean, that's where quarterback evaluations in the draft crack me up. Some guys like.
Yeah.
Looks like we.
Damn it, Grant! It's all good. It happened. But anyway, so yeah. So that level of ineptitude reminds me of Nathan Peterman. Good times. Always great to be in a conversation with that guy. Right.
Is he still in the league?
Yes, I think he's still Derek Carr's backup in Vegas.
I know Gruden loves him.
Yeah, Gruden's a big Peterman guy.
Right. Well, that's actually, we can find that out real quick. Let's see, is he still in the league? Because that's right, because he got fired basically because they wanted someone to be a fall guy for Daniel Snyder. That's just my conspiracy theory. And yes, Gruden's emails are fucked up, and yes, he would be fired. And also,
they were also while he was with ESPN, so I don't know if you can, really get on him for that. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, they weren't good, but like they were 10 years ago, and I don't know. Like I said, I think he got scapegoated for to bail out Daniel Snyder, which was more my issue.
Yep, my sentiments exactly.
Yeah, if you fire John Gruden for that, or you publicly try to get John Gruden fired, like you have to publicly go at Daniel, not have a law firm come in to run an internal and not publish.
I was wrong. Nathan Peterman is now a free agent. He's no longer with the Raiders. So Josh McDaniels came in and said, fuck that guy. He's out of here.
Yeah,
So,
Josh McDaniels also released Carl Nassib from the job, so
well, yeah, it's because
I'm not going to make any accusations.
we have an inkling of the ulterior motives behind that. That's
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
essential to say.
100%.
Carl Nassib, by the way, I would not mind if we poked around there. Not
Yeah,
to
he's a guy
not,
that
no,
I would
no
rather
pun
have,
intended.
but I
Right.
I would rather have Jihad Ward personally, but Carl Nassib fills that kind of role of that situational pass rusher that you can bring in off the bench and is going to get to the quarterback on his whatever he plays 20 snaps a game.
He's going to be
Yep.
cheap too.
Yeah, 100%.
He's a Philly guy, so Baltimore would be, I think, just like why I think Flacco was always willing to stick around here. It's right up the street. It's less than 2 hours away from Baltimore, so
Yeah,
I think
go for
Nassib
it.
would be interested. If Philly's not interested, or the Jets or the Giants aren't interested, I think Baltimore would be high on his list.
Yeah, or
Yep.
DC. Those are probably, and I
Yeah.
doubt teams.
Yeah, no chance he would go there.
I mean, should he?
Oh,
put
I
it-
just got a text a couple minutes ago. Anheuser-Busch has pulled all their products from FedEx Field.
Oh, they
Yes.
don't want their beer being associated with poop water. That's understandable.
Well, I mean, I would if I was a like an advertiser like FedEx, I'd pull all my shit from them too. I mean, Daniel
Yeah.
Snyder is fucking sexually harassing cheerleaders.
You know why that FedEx won't pull? Because isn't the CEO of FedEx one of the minority owners of the team? I'm pretty sure he is.
That was part of the deal with changing the team name as they brought him on.
I think he was already part of the group. He was part of that group that tried to sell off. Oh, hold on, they did sell off, didn't they? Didn't Snyder's family, he and his family, buy out those minority owners because they were trying? It was like they were trying to it was like a hostile takeover. They were going to try and buy. They were trying to convince the family members to join them and buy out the majority shares, but it ended up backfiring.
There was some weird stuff that went on with that. I definitely remember when Snyder was saying that we're not going to change the team name. There was some, some fuckery that went on with the buy him out. I'm not. It's wild.
They
that the
knew
NFL
all the
had-
other stuff that it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, I mean the NFL forced what was his name, Jerry Richardson, the old Panthers owner. to
Panthers.
sell.
Yeah.
He said he liked Jeans Friday because he liked looking at the end. And if you put that
Yeah,
against,
there was other stuff with him too, wasn't there? Wasn't there
Yeah, it
racist
was-
stuff with him too?
it's mildly racist comments and some weird comments about interns. But I would say that Daniel Snyder was much worse, and he was pimping out cheerleaders
For sure.
Federal crime on top of being a shitty thing to do.
But yes, it's still weird that they call themselves the Commanders. The only thing I'm waiting for now is they change the logo on the side of the helmet to the hammer and the sickle, so they can officially embrace their ways of being the commies, and we can literally have America's team versus the commies in DC.
I mean, fuck it,
Yeah.
might as well just embrace that. No, nobody
Might as well at this point. Exactly. As simple as that.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah, really. Not to mention you can do I don't have anything else to say other than that, but yeah. Anywho, that's gonna do it for us for this episode. of
Will and I have some.
Oh,
people
wait.
to go after.
That's right.
Yeah,
You have
we
a secret
got-
topic.
we got the,
Release it.
Okay.
Release it. Secret
I
topic.
don't know which group you want to start with here. If we go the
Well, you know what? I think maybe we should reference back to an old bit. Why don't we power rank the factions of fans in Ravens Twitter?
do we do a Mount Rushmore within each faction of who's the most annoying?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I have some inception here. I mean, if we got to go with the children's table as we call them,
Mhm.
you got to start with the video editor and his girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? Adam, I think.
Alex.
Alex 10, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And then his girlfriend Alexa, or Ashley, I don't know, some fucking A. They are the two most annoying human beings on the internet. The fact that girl has been fucking stalking my page for 2 years is ridiculous. All because I asked her why she didn't like Barcelona. That's literally what started this. And then you got the boyfriend making these video edits where he basically just steals highlight reels from other teams and puts a song over it and is oh, why is everybody stealing my content? It's you make stolen content. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, so those two and their little dick riders, that Sean kid, who I've never spoken to in my entire life and is just thinks Will and I are the same person, which is the best part of it.
They all do. They all
Yeah.
do. They talk to each other. They say they have that Drew has created 4 different accounts. So they think when Drew and I are talking to each other, it's just Drew tweeting at himself.
Tweeting
Yeah.
at I'm currently bullying myself online if anybody's, this is just a long-term, ploy that I'm just going to use a different account to make fun of myself. Can you imagine the damage that I do with like 300 followers? If I had an account with 1,000 followers, I'd have like fucking countries at war or something like that. Like it would be ugly. But the fact that they've like convinced themselves of that, and they were the first supporters of the sex offender that we don't name. So.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that fella.
Yeah, that fella. Just because he's a litigious sort, I'm not going to say his name, but he's disgusting. He should go fuck himself.
Everybody knows who we're talking about.
Yeah, got that fucking scumbag locking up his account. And
there's also nothing illegal about talking about publicly available information. So
yeah, it's still like just the fact that kid fucking operated the way he did for as long as he did and nobody said a word is bizarre to me. And there were people who knew. I mean, the Gardner twins knew. They said they knew beforehand, and
definitely
just out fraternizing with him like nothing's wrong. Like, what the fuck? And if he wasn't so fucking creepy, like sliding girls' DMs and shit, like I wouldn't have such a problem with it. But it's like, you're a fucking convicted sex offender, passing yourself off as somebody you're not on the internet. Hanging out with people you meet from Twitter who know nothing about you. Like that's some fucking bizarre shit. Or then you got the other one who went and had lunch with him after the fact, like. Told her, like, straight up said, like, this is what he got charged with, like, showed her the fucking charges, and then she's like, oh, yeah, it's cool, I'm going to go have a drink with him.
Yeah, and then, the funny thing is, last week when you you put that back out there, and then I copied the picture and dropped it in the replies, and they were like, it's really weird you have that picture. Like, no, it's really weird that she had lunch with a sex offender and still has the fucking tweet up.
Delete it. That's the thing.
And I don't have it saved. It was literally put on the timeline like 5 minutes before I just hit copy and paste and dropped it in the replies. I don't know why that was hard to understand.
Like I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm not like I didn't go find that, but I knew it existed and went.
Right, exactly. Because we noticed it when it happened because we're like, look at this shit.
Well, because they're all the same kids that go shit on Mo all the time, for example, and like, oh, Mo is toxic, this person's toxic, and that person's toxic, and it's like. You're fucking sitting here defending like real life scumbags, and you want to talk about how somebody has a different football take than you, and they're a bad person. Go fuck yourself.
They're also all over the place right now, bragging about bullying. And listen, I'm not here to say don't bully people on Twitter. Do whatever the fuck you want. We do that all the time. When people have a bad opinion, we tell them it's a bad opinion, and if they want to engage with us, sometimes that escalates. That's fine. Whatever happens. But these are the same people who tried to make it seem like you and I were these horrible, horrible people because because you asked a question and because I said, maybe you shouldn't draw attention to your illegal video because you're going to get a DMCA strike. That's all we did.
That's exactly what happened was that he made a big stink with Barstool, went spammed his shit underneath, and then he got a DMCA strike. Like,
he lost his account. You're right. And it's not that he got one DMCA strike. I'm pretty sure you got to get 4. So he drew attention to his account, and they went and gave him 4 strikes in one day. That's exactly what I told him was going to happen. It wasn't me being like an asshole trying to say you suck, anything like that. I just told him like, why the fuck are you drawing attention to your account? Right.
You're trying to fucking help him. And he's like, no, man, stop being a hater while I take this highlight video and put some...
Well, and to be fair, he didn't say that. He didn't say a word. She did. And she was the one drawing all the attention to it.
Yeah. Called us a wannabe Barstool account and said that, we were cyberbullying. And I was like, we didn't do shit.
Didn't.
There's some interesting tweets out there if you search cyberbullying and her handle.
I'll be right
He likes
back.
to brag about it.
Grab some.
Yeah. This is what I get for not like intermittently checking the Twitter and then going to dig. That's what I do. But yeah. And yeah, that old bullshit when that was going about, it's like the idea of, all right, this is my own original content. That's like, because obviously I play music and everything. That would be like me getting into the lab, taking someone else's tunes, and then maybe not even putting a riff over it, because I would have to put someone else's riff over that and calling it my original like content. Like, you're just taking 2 different already owned properties and combining them together, and it's not anything new. That's the idea of what you just accomplished, kind sir. What the fuck are you doing? No disrespect.
Right, it's not. And it's content it's unlicensed content from the NFL and ESPN, Fox, CBS. Like, yes. Right, you're messing with the companies who are like they don't play around with that. So I still don't understand what the backlash was there, but they seem to think that they have an idea about me and Drew that's completely wrong.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that, children.
It's all good. It happens.
Yeah. No. So I mean, just to get back to where we were, like they made it out like Will and I were the bad guy,
And you weren't. You were both literally coming out attempting to help them avoid getting fucked by Fox and CBS and ESPN and everybody, and they didn't take it that way. They got in their feeling.
Yeah, and then after the
That's what happens when you're a child.
Yes.
Well, and then you tweeted the joke video, where you took his edit and like I don't
Thomas
remember what
did.
you did. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah, and Thomas tweeted it without his like
that damn
his
menace.
app on it. And kid fucking lost his mind, and I'm like, this is the same shit that these kids do all the time, and then they just want to sit there and say that we're the ones cyberbullying. You people are
Right.
fucking nuts.
Once again, then that video wasn't. They took it as one thing. The point of the video was, look, I took your video. Thomas took your video, and changed the audio, put a couple different things in it. It's my video now, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, I mean that's
Because that's what he
we're told.
does.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
That was my
really
whole.
all it
That
is.
was the point. Here's a teaching moment. I've taken your video that you claim you worked so hard on. Maybe you did. I don't know. Whatever. But I'm taking something that exists. I'm changing it, and I'm making it something else. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I'm some sort of creator.
Yeah, I mean, they're just fucking. That whole group of kids too is they get this like mob mentality of somebody says one thing, and they just take it as absolute fact. Like so one of them said that I bullied her. That because I said who besides Dave Portnoy is a scumbag at Barcelona. I think was my exact question, and then that was taken as bullying. And then from there, it's just spiraled into like, oh, these kids just bully us nonstop. It's,
Harassing women. Like what? Harassing women.
I mean, I can honestly tell you that I harass far more men on the internet than I've ever harassed women.
I harassed you tonight.
I mean, I harass you 90%,
Right.
which is, kind of how the internet works. And then they got that whole, I don't even know if you call them the kids table that kind of spawns off them. That, remember the girl who made fun of Marlon's girlfriend? I cannot remember her, like,
Oh,
C-Nice or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like
Anti-C,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know how to say that fucking name. Whatever.
So they got her, and then there's that other one, the fucking single mother. I fucking body bagged both of them. They strongly dislike me for probably a good reason, but they're the same thing. Of they want to run their mouths about what they want to run their mouths about, and if you're like with them, it's funny. So that Auntie C, or no, sorry, the foreign one to love is the one that was bullying.
Oh,
Lindsay.
God.
Like she fucking like went nuts because we said something about Lynn, and she went off the rails and fucking started calling her, like a clan member, which I do, but regardless, like I do it. But like legitimately went around and was telling people like, Lindsay's this hardcore racist, like blah blah blah. And then the second she became the target, or somebody she liked became the target, it was a problem, and we're the bad guys.
Well, okay, you want to know when she turned on me? She and I used to DM all the time.
Yeah, I was in a couple.
May
of
have been
groups together.
DMing the same day this happened. I put a tweet out there when the Lamar vaccine thing happened, and my whole tweet was, I'm mad about Lamar not being vaccinated, not because I don't want him to get COVID, not because I'm concerned with his health, because I think it's a stupid business decision, and because he's a football player on the team that I like. I'm not friends with Lamar Jackson. I don't know him. If I knew him, I would have a different perspective. My relationship with Lamar Jackson is that I want him to be available to play quarterback for the Ravens every fucking game. If he's not available, that's bad. And if he's not vaccinated, at the time anyway, if he wasn't vaccinated, it was going to put him in a position where he might not be able to play. So I said it's a bad business decision, whatever. That tweet got a lot of traction, and there was a lot of weird shit in the replies. And there was some guy claimed he was in the military and he had seen people get vaccinated and like their arm fell off. It was like some fucking wild, crazy shit.
I
And-
remember that.
Yeah,
he-
and she was like,
he's
he's seen.
like shot in the arm and then had to get
Yeah.
the COVID vaccine to get a like a surgery or something like that. And
Yeah, but he put it like, I seen it happen. I was there. He got the shot. His arm fell off. Like, okay, man, this is not true. It's just not accurate. He deleted all his tweets like 10 minutes later because it got to the point where I made him look so stupid. But she came in and had this weird perspective on it and went bananas on me. Crazy. Like, what the fuck what are you talking about? She's mad because she claimed I was saying like he had to get vaccinated as though I was like trying to dictate his like personal choice. I was like, no, the premise of this tweet is that I want him vaccinated so we can play football. That's it. You guys talk for a second. I got to get my thing plugged in.
Well, no, it's like the same thing with, me, where like I say something and then these people come back and they're like, oh, you have to look at this a different way, or you're being mean, or you're being rude. And it's like, no, I'm just sharing my opinion. And the thing is like, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. Like, if I don't agree with you, I'm just going to tell you I don't agree with you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to like, I feel like it's worse if I pull punches and change my opinion because it's somebody I like versus somebody I don't like. Like, if I see something that I don't like, I'm going to say this is stupid and I don't like it. And if I see something that I like and agree with, I'm going to say I like and agree with it. I'm not going to pick and choose who I say that about or who I say. I feel like that's
I don't think I don't think a single person actually disagrees or has a problem with what we're saying ever. They only have a problem with the way we say it.
Or who we're saying it to. Because for some reason there's this like weird protected class on Twitter where they're like, again, going back to the video editor and his fucking retard fiance, like, I probably shouldn't say that word. Max probably edit that part out. But,
Cut that.
Cut that. His fiance,
right.
like, I make fun of them, and they call themselves, the king and queen of Ravens Twitter. Like, it's a problem that I make fun of them. But if I made the exact same comment to some random stranger, nobody would care. Like,
Hold on. Even I'll take it a step further. If you made those same comments about Lindsay, 95% of Ravens Twitter would be like, fuck yeah, fuck her. They all hate her.
They get 100 retweets every fucking call her Lindsay OKKK or call her Grand Wizard Lindsay.
Yeah.
Like, it takes no effort on my end, but nobody likes her, so it just gets retweets from the same people who would have a problem if I said it about somebody else who tweeted the exact same thing.
Right. Yeah, I think say Ashley took your exact tweet, every one of your tweets. If she just copy and pasted them every single day, people would be like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Retweet, like, replying. It would be this great celebration in the children's Twitter. When you do it, or when I do it, we're assholes. They're subtweeting us. They have us blocked. They're subtweeting us. They're talking about us. We have 4 accounts, blah, blah, blah. It makes no sense. The funniest
part is I've had them blocked longer than they've had me blocked, because I made the new account. I was like, these kids are going to be looking for me, and they're going to be saying like, oh, look, he got suspended because he did X, Y, and Z, and they were going to turn this into some fucking, huge cyberbullying thing. So I was like, I'm going to take it a step farther. I'm going to block them right away. I was blocked within 5 minutes of making an account. So they're like watching, which is fucking, if you think about it, like nothing I tweet is really that important.
Very funny too. They like to reference that I have a private account. You both follow on my private account. The only thing that I tweet on my private account are Wordle scores.
Yeah, and occasionally you respond to something stupid that Tom said, regardless.
I'll reply to stuff on there to people that I know that I don't want on the Purple Pants one, because it's not on brand. That's it. Yeah, and I use my private account for DMs.
Yeah, and like your Purple Pants account, like nobody actually cares that me and Tom are arguing about him, taking a picture. Like that's really not.
Yeah, right.
That's not Ravens content. Actually, fucking, I'm sure people see those tweets from me and they're like, "What the fuck is this asshole talking about?" Again, I only cyberbully women though. Apparently.
Yeah, right. You know who we cyberbully the most?
Tom.
Robert.
Oh, Robert. Right. Fucking. Sometimes Robert tweets things that I actually agree with, and I'm like, no, but it's Robert tweeting this, so I don't agree. So I have to make fun of him for it.
Well, the funny thing is, we bully Robert, but he retweets us. He retweets our us mocking him. So everyone should follow Robert's lead and understand that we're joking around. It's when you push back and you act like we're these fucking horrible people, then we really don't like you. So maybe maybe it has teeth at that point, but at no point am I replying to someone that I've never interacted with before, or I don't have any reason to dislike. If it's a mean tweet, it's a joke. I mean that's all it is.
I welcome mean comments. Like if it's from somebody that I don't know, the amount of mean comments that I got on the fucking fake Hollywood story, like to a point they were funny, and then I'm like, all right, like you've now tweeted me 9 days in a row the same thing. Like, all right, like it's cool, like I get it. Like I don't have I think anybody who read my account after the fact knew that. But like in the moment they're like, oh fuck you, making up stories for attention. I'm like, fair. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that I didn't do that. So I mean I did it for laughs, not attention. Same
my favorite was the verified accounts that were like going into replies and like screenshotting your replies where you're saying in plain English that it was fake. and they're like, "We got him." Like he didn't hide it. It's under the tweet.
There was some fucking guy who made like an 8-minute YouTube video about it, and I watched it, and he's like breaking it down. And he's like, yeah, Hollywood likes to stream and like goes through this whole thing about how like players have lives outside. And he's like, but here's the gotcha moment. And he like, again, screenshots like a thread that I had with a guy where I was like, you got to hold these verified idiots responsible. Like I'm a dumbass with my face, on Tony Montana snorting a bunch of coke, and they took my story seriously. Like they're fucking dumb. He's like, see, this is how we know it's fake. I was like, yes, that's literally what I said. You know it's fake because I said it was. I had that fucking ESPN producer reach out to me and say, like, do you want to come on the show? And I'm like, are you, like, retarded or do you know? Yeah, Max cut that. He's just can't use it.
So hold up. I was behind all this. Someone made a YouTube video just dissecting your tweet.
Yep. Talked about how realistic it was for Hollywood to potentially retire. He was talking about the whole thing where he, like, blacked out his Twitter and his Instagram saying that, sometimes players do this when they're rebranding. And early on in that, people were asking me how I knew, and I said I knew somebody in Hollywood's management team. And he blacked everything out because he was going to rebrand to a gaming channel. And so he was going to put all his gaming graphics on Instagram and on Twitter, and that's why everything was blacked out. And then so he like went through that, and he's like, he is right. Like players do that all the time when they're rebranding, but he's like, I just can't see him leaving $13 million on the table to go play video games, blah blah, and like whole long breakdown. And then at the end, he like has screenshots of me like literally conversing with people that I follow, saying like, "Yes, this is fake. People are fucking stupid." And he's like, "See, I got him." I'm like, "No, you didn't get me. Like, I got you. Like, I
think you said and like literally said this is a good troll or something to that effect. Like there was no decoding required. It was very clear.
This is the greatest troll I've ever seen. I was like, it's sad that it took this little effort to trick verified accounts into believing this troll.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's what it was.
He's like, I got him. I'm like, no, you didn't, pal. And then I DM'd him. I was like, delete this. Like, there's still people falling for it. Don't be an asshole. And then, that's the same thing with the fake analyst Twitter, too. They do the same shit of, like, they, see some story on the internet and then they weigh in on it. And they're like, oh, I have sources. It's like, no, you just made a fucking common sense guess based on, facts that are available. And you think you're some fucking newsbreaker.
Which fake analysts are we talking about right now? All of them?
All of them. I mean, specifically like that Spencer kid does it all the time where he pretends like he's like in the know. And he's like, oh, I scouted this kid. I know what the Ravens seen him. I was like, you watched a fucking college football game on a Saturday. You have no idea what you're talking about. Or our favorite one, the chicken guy, fucking Adam Beemore. It just... That kid is insufferable. But, again, does the same thing of like, so they invite him to camp and he's like, I have to have this hot take of like Chris Westry's the third best corner on the team. And then gets sad when Chris Westry sucks. It's like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, there's a reason why you write for Russell Street Report and not for like a legitimate website or not, work for a legitimate team. And it's because you're a dumbass. Like, the reason why it works when I say something is I know I'm a dumbass. Like, I know I'm just some fucking drunk idiot watching a game. Like, I don't think, I don't think it should be in a front office somewhere. And I don't like hold myself to that high opinion, whereas like the fake analyst Twitter is like, oh yeah, my opinion is gold and I'm special. You're not. You're really
Do you
not.
think that when he tweeted that, the Westry tweet, he hit the wrong number?
No, I think that he saw Chris Westry was, 6'5" and ran fast and saw him doing like fucking sprints and warm-ups. Was like, this is the guy. Because again, it goes back to the Sauce Gardner thing and just the combine in general of you see somebody who's big and runs fast and just assume that they're going to be good at their position. And
it's just to me, like at that moment, at that point in time, all of our cornerbacks were healthy, all of them.
Yeah.
So he's saying Chris Westry on August 16th, 2021 was better than Tavon Austin, Jimmy Smith,
we still had Sean Wade,
Anthony Averett, Sean Wade, Brandon Stevens. I mean, if he wanted to say Chris Westry is the fifth best cornerback on the team, that still maybe would have been a stretch, but I would, okay, fine. That's a hot take, but he can defend that. The third best cornerback on that team, no fucking chance.
I may be attributing this to the wrong person, but I think Chib said when we signed Chris Westry as an undrafted free agent, he said that like this kid's big, tall, and fast, and if somebody could coach him up, he might be something special. Where I'm like, okay, that is a mild, lukewarm take, but you're also not setting yourself up to be made fun of if that goes wrong, because you're not.
I think Chib still has that same opinion too, because he said because we didn't tender him, he's a free agent, and he said he believes that the team wants to have Westry back. I mean, I don't have any problem with Chris Westry as a depth cornerback, but to go in, you go to camp, you stand there and you say that he's better than guys who we know are better than him, veteran cornerbacks who are better than him, who are, Jimmy Smith's at the end of his career. Maybe it's even done. He's still better than Chris Westry.
100%.
Yep.
Like you can't even, and you're watching practice too. It's not like he's watching them in a game.
Right.
Practice in a game. To quote AI, we're talking about practice, not a game. Practice. Like it's practice. Like you can't take practice that seriously. If you got a undrafted free agent, of course he's going to show up and fucking try his ass off every time because he's trying to make a roster. Whereas Jimmy Smith is a 12-year veteran at this point. Is he going to show up practice day one and fucking bust his ass? Probably not.
He got drafted in 2011, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was 2010 or 2011.
2011.
Yeah, so he's played 12 years at this point. Like, he's not going to show up to day one of training camp thinking his job's on him.
Right.
You're
And it's not. I mean,
Yeah, no.
there's no.
I mean, he's Jimmy Smith. Like, the Ravens know who he is. They're not going to take one bad practice and be like, nah, fuck this guy, he's out.
Right. And I don't think Jimmy Smith's playing in training camp at 100% speed ever. Anyway,
I mean, I don't think
12-year vets
started-
don't do that.
I can't imagine that anybody showing up day one of training camp and going balls to the wall.
I can think of one person.
Oh.
Jugs boy.
Oh God, fuck that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck James Proche.
That's why he gets all the run in preseason because he's going 100% all the time.
Yeah, I mean, fucking let me post a video of me running up. He's posted more pictures of him running up a hill than he has caught balls in the NFL. It's like,
And that the video that sticks in my brain, it was this preseason, and it was like 5 a.m. and he was standing like 4 inches away from the Jugs machine, catching balls. And all right, I watched that and I was like, that looks difficult, but I don't really see what this means. Like, literally any person could buy a Jugs machine and spend time and do that eventually. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean you're a good NFL receiver.
I mean, it means that you have strong forearms and strong hands, that you can get a ball at 100 miles an hour that close and hold on to
And we
it.
knew that when he got drafted. Didn't he had like no drops? I mean, like, so he doesn't drop the ball. We know that.
And he's playing against, fucking grocery baggers of the United States of America, that union, any fucking grocery store worker. But, like, good for him. Like, he can catch the ball, but these people sitting here crying like, oh, Proche doesn't get enough snaps, blah, blah. It's like, because he's not good. Like, it's that.
There's more than just good hands, right? There's a lot more to it than just good hands.
I mean,
are we going to talk? Are we going to address the big one?
Lindsey? I'm down.
Yeah.
Fucking body
Do
bag
it.
or any day.
Do it.
I mean, this has been like 2 years of harassment. This started off with, like, I don't even remember what got her on our trail to begin with. Like, us personally. I mean, I know why she has issues with me, and it was because I sent out a dumb tweet in, like, 2016 without knowing who she was really and what her background was, with the whole thing with her brother. And, like, I made a very stupid and poor joke that, if I had known the situation, I wouldn't have made. So since then, she's had issues with me. It's been a very long time that she didn't like me. I don't know what got her on our radar, though. I don't. I mean, horrible.
She and I had like a friendly relationship for a long time, and then she switched when I guess people associated with the website. People, I don't even know who. Honestly, I really don't. I know one tweet in particular from the sex offender. I don't even know that she ever saw it. She never referenced it, and she at times, I think, was referencing him as the only one of the group who like was respectful, which is a hilarious fucking terrible take considering he's the one with the worst possible tweet out there. It's still out there. You can't search it now because he's private, but it's there. But she got mad at me because she was saying I should stop people. And at that time, not only it wasn't my website, Chibs was still in control of the website. I had, I didn't even have admin control of what went up. I certainly didn't have control of what people tweeted. And she was telling me I needed to stop it. I tweeted several times, if you guys remember, long-ass threads telling people to stop harassing her from my account. Because I think I started tweeting from the Neutral Zone Infraction account in like mid or late November 2020.
Yeah. That sounds
so
right.
Yeah. So, she was getting upset. And we would have conversations about it. It wasn't like she was coming at me and she was blocking me or accusing me of anything, except that she was saying, you need to stop these people from tweeting. I'm like, what? I don't know how you want me to stop someone from tweeting.
So it started off at first of, it was while we were still on Twitter. We hadn't even moved to Slack at this point. There were, people would send her tweets and say, like, look at this horrendous tape. And then, like, 3 of us would respond.
or like, you know, I'm just gonna throw a name. I'm sure Robert did it, but you know, like Robert would like quote tweet her and say, "Holy fuck, what a terrible take," and then like I'd
Yeah, yeah.
retweet and then she'd come crying to you and say like, "Oh my god, like your whole website's bullying me." It's like two people, like calm down, A, and B, like we do this to everybody, like it's not just you. And I know she fucking, you know, threw a hissy fit over. I wrote that story about Matt Lombardo and some fucking horrendous
Oh,
news
right.
article, and she took that personally. She's friends with him apparently, but took it as like me calling her a fake analyst. I was like, his name is in the fucking title of the article. Like it had nothing to do with you. You didn't exist. Like I took his article and I literally put it piece by piece in there and like went down and was making fun of him. And then she comes to you, she's like, "Oh my god, Drew is, you know, harassing me." And then that's where I was just like, all right, like there's nothing I can do here. I know for a while we tried to just like not interact with anything she said, like nobody talked about her. And
I'm pretty
then
sure there was like
somebody-
a 2 or 3 month period where there was nothing. It was like basically from, I remember it vividly actually. I think it was the Super Bowl, the day of the Super Bowl. She and I had like a huge blowout in the DMs. And that was when I had like a long tweet thread of like, everybody leave Lindsay alone, blah, blah, blah. And very intentionally, I didn't tweet about her or at her for several months. And then I don't know, maybe it was like April or so, something happened. I don't remember exactly what happened.
That email to her website allegedly that said like "fuck you."
Oh, right.
I
Yep.
don't remember. I think it still called us NZI, which is not what we were going by. So it was
Yep.
like very
Yeah. And for the records, this is going to be out on the internet. When Chibs came to me, I can't remember the exact date. It was after the Super Bowl, but it was not long after. He asked if I wanted to take over the website. So I was like, sure, I'll take it over. So the first thing I did, literally, I think minutes after he and Max can corroborate this because it was me, him, and Max on a text message. I went in to the Slack and said, everybody from this point forward, do not refer to the website as NZI. Don't refer to the website, the Twitter, nothing. And it wasn't because of that or whatever ended up happening. I mean, like I never envisioned, you know, it would somehow come back and actually be kind of like it would be like an alibi. But it was because to me, there's one letter missing from NZI that makes it into a really bad connotation. Not even a connotation. It's just a really horrible word.
I
Yes,
think
it
Chibs
does.
was considering keeping the NZI name and doing a podcast. I remember that being like a discussion. So I think that we changed it to give him that name if he wanted it.
Right. Well, and on my end, it was just like from a branding perspective. If for some reason, if we wanted to really like push that's just it's tough. Like if you wanted to try and get like sponsors and stuff, to me, like you limit who's going to be willing to work with you. So that was my whole thing. That's why we switched to Endzone from NZI. So I said from this point forward, when you tweet, everybody in your bios take out NZI. Just no reference to NZI. Those 3 letters in a row is a bad look to me. So then somebody sent her an email that said, like, on behalf of NZI Properties, which is like, NZI Properties is...
That was the old Twitter handle.
Right, and it's like, in the beginning of the website, I think we had 50 fucking people.
Yep.
Right? 50 people writing. Because we had somebody covering every team. It was so crazy how many fucking people were involved. So we had so many people, and people would drop out. People would leave because they got their feelings hurt in the DM group. People would leave because we kicked them out, whatever the case may be. So that was after the fact, where I had not only did I do the sort of like the rebranding, I also kicked a bunch of people out, just straight out. I was like, we're removing these people. I'm not even going to tell them why. Just kick them out. They serve no purpose here. Nothing against those people. It's just like for what we were doing, I had no interest in having to manage that many people because, I just dealt with Lindsay accusing me of allowing shit to happen. How do you like keep track of that many people? I don't even know who these people are. I don't know. You know what I mean? I remember actually the first day we started posting blogs on NeutralZoneInfraction.com. Chibs was like, everybody retweet everybody else. And somebody, I don't know who it was. He wasn't on the site long, but his Twitter profile picture was him doing this thing.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm not retweeting that guy. You tell him to change his picture and I'll retweet him. But if he has that, I'm not doing it because at the time that was like, I don't think now it was like it's like a military thing where, right? And isn't it like, it's like a white power or something like that?
So people call that white power, but it's you put the circle below the waist, and if somebody looks, you punch them.
No, I know that, but I'm saying the way he had it, right? But the connotation at the time was it was a white power thing, right? Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I'm not retweeting that. So it was just like so many, like it's just like loose ends everywhere. So for me, it was like the first order of business was like cleaning up all that. So
you had to get rid of Palace, fucking creep. And that's a whole other story.
There was a lot of cleaning up that had to be done. But so when that email got sent to her, I mean, obviously, I have no idea who sent that fucking email.
I wouldn't put it.
I'm pretty sure it was Easter weekend. I think it was the Saturday before Easter. And I get this fucking DM, and she is up my asshole about this goddamn email. She sends me a screenshot of it, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck would send you that. I can tell you right now, not one person on my 12-person roster sent you that because we all agreed not to reference the website as NZI. And I don't think anybody's ever referenced it as NZI property. So I don't even think it was anybody who ever wrote for it, unless it was someone from the early days. Maybe it was that John Ankeny guy who's a fucking weirdo. He's somebody who would do that. That guy.
I don't remember that being a link to cosmetics on.
Yeah, exactly right. So when that whole thing happened, then from that point forward, it was like it took a whole different tone with her and me, and I still don't understand why she blames me. And she's so like aggressively like he harasses me. Like I have never fucking harassed Lynn ever.
She spoke to me one time, and this was like a year and a half after of like telling me, she's like, well, why do you have a problem with me? And I was like, well, I mean, you tweet racist things, like you have the old racist tweets get exposed, and that was long before we ever had any issues with her. And I was like, and then you are critical of Lamar and everything that he does. Like, I'm going to draw the conclusion, and, you have a man crush or, crush on every white quarterback. Like, I'm going to draw conclusions from that. Like, it is what it is. Like, you put these dots out in the public, and I connect them. And if you don't like the conclusion that I come to, like, I'm sorry, but that's the publicly available information. Like, you've done that to yourself. That's not my fault.
That's not harassment. I mean, and I will say this. For the most part, it is a joke.
Yeah.
It's funny. And, I mean... And not to her, it's not funny to her, and that's what she's always said to me. She's like, it's not funny to me. I'm like, you know what? Humor is subjective. I'm sorry you don't appreciate the joke, but it doesn't mean that you're being harassed. Just because you don't appreciate the joke. It's a joke about things that you have done. No one's making anything up.
It's cheap, and it's me, again, maybe drawing fake conclusions, maybe drawing real conclusions. I mean, the way she gets defensive makes me think that there's maybe more to it than that. You mean that, she really feels that a certain way about Lamar, and it might be based on his skin tone. I have no idea, but I mean, the facts.
I don't even assume that. Honestly, I don't assume it. I just think she's super defensive. She's a super defensive person, and I think she would do herself so many favors. She can't now, the toothpaste out of the tube. But if she had just been after her Notes app apology, which I think she fucked up, but at the same time, that's a long time ago. But if she had just kind of leaned in and been like, haha, yeah, whatever, I fucked up in the past, I think it would, like, getting into these long, like, reply battles with people, I don't know. She can do whatever she wants. There are people who harass her, and we are not among them.
Like, the issue is that she never went to the source. So, like, if she had an issue with my tweet, she would take a screenshot of it, and I had her blocked for a long time, so she never should have been able to see it to begin with, but, whatever. And then she'd send it to you, she'd send it to Chibs, and she'd send it to Max. And then she'd be like, well, why is he tweeting this? Why are you allowing him to tweet that? And I'm like, well, what do you want? Will to drive to my fucking house, 7 hours away and break all of my, like, electronic devices? Like, is that what you're looking for? Like, is that really your end game here? Because it's not going to work, but, like, I mean, it's not even realistic to expect you to, you're going to text me and be like, hey, can you delete your Twitter account because it's hurting? No.
Right. But yeah. And then eventually there is no website now. So her idea that anyone should stop someone else from tweeting something is fucking crazy.
It is. Like,
you and I tweet, we interact a lot, but, like, we're friends. We're not, like, coworkers. This is not a web, like, like, this is not like some part of some, like, professional strategy or something. I don't understand what
professional strategy. Like, I mean, you look at any online company, like like a Barstool, for example. I mean, they're tweeting each other, they're shit talking each other all the time. I mean, fucking Dave is on Twitter shitting on Rico Bosco, 24 hours a day. Like that's just kind of what people do. And it's not like if you're in the content game, like, and you're putting content on the internet to consume, like you're doing it to get a reaction, and the reaction is not always going to be positive, and people are not always going to be nice, just not. And my other issue with her too is I feel like she'll put a dumb tweet out there, and some asshole with an egg account, and it's their first name and 93 letters of their Twitter handle, and they got the default Abby, says like, "Fuck you, you suck." Like she turns around and says that it's one of us. We're like the fucking boogeyman, and it's
right.
It's
She conflates a lot. Anybody, like, I don't know that she's ever straight out accused anybody that's associated with us about the brother stuff, because I know I would never go near that. I don't think that's funny. I think like you said, you went that direction 7 years ago by accident. Yeah. I know from what I know of you, you're not, that you would never target that. That's off limits stuff.
It's way easier things to make fun of her about. Like that's like that's not even funny, to be honest. Like,
no, right. You don't make fun of someone because their brother died. That's crazy. That's fucking insane.
You say brother dying if you want to like start a fist fight with them in person. But I have no interest in fighting her in person. She's a woman, and she lives 8 states away from me. Like, there's nothing to gain from it.
Right, exactly. So yeah, no, I don't understand this idea that she puts out there that you and I, and it's very clearly you and I, we harass her, we blah blah blah, we're obsessed. By the way, and this is not subjective just to her either. This is the other people too. They like to say, "I have them blocked." We have them blocked.
I mean, it's
so they go out there and they're like, "Oh, we have these people blocked. They're stalking us." The only reason they know what we're saying is because they're stalking us. So, like, it's a wash, everybody. There's no stalking going on. I know that they're tweeting about me. They know that I'm tweeting about them. It's fair game. Well, you know what? Maybe they should all listen to this. Let's all unblock each other, and we can all fucking go at it.
I mean, I've offered that.
Open invitation. Open invitation.
All of them. Oh, my mentions, DMs, everything's open. Do you want to speak to me? Feel free. Like, I don't care.
And not even DMs. You want to do it publicly? Let's insult each other in front of everybody. That's fine with me. But this idea that you're saying that we're stalking because like you have us blocked, I've had them blocked just as long as they've had me blocked. All of them. I've actually blocked Lindsay before she blocked me, because I remember you know what? I'm not even going to say this one because then I'm going to air somebody out. Erase that one from your memory. Nope.
Yeah.
Not going to do that one.
There were
just know that I know she noticed that I blocked her first, and she said it was ridiculous that I blocked her. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. I mean, there are plenty of times where she has commented that I have her blocked, and then why do you know what I said? Like,
right,
exactly,
right.
And I've heard, people send it to me. I'm like, no, like that's just at the frequency and the speed that you respond to things. Like, there's no chance of screenshotting my tweet and sending it to you.
A mutual friend of ours the other day, there was a thread the other night. There was a thread the other night we were all involved with. Jake, you weren't in there, I don't think. Maybe you saw it. I don't know if you saw it or not. But we were tweeting about her, and it was all in fun. I will say that there were no shots being taken that were, over the line, and it was not started by us either. Someone else opened that line of conversation, and that person pointed out, how do you see what they're saying so quickly? Because there's no way that someone is taking a screenshot every time a fucking tweet goes out in a thread where there's a tweet coming in every 15 seconds. I mean, it was literally like a conversation that was happening, like this conversation right now. People were tweeting that quickly. So there's no way you're seeing all those tweets from people that you have blocked, that have you blocked, not monitoring what they're saying. That's all I'm going to say. So, and I'm not saying that's even weird, because like if you know someone's tweeting about you, you kind of want to see what the tweets are. Yeah.
She tagged. Like, she's more than welcome to go look at them. Like, I said them to, rile her up and be a dick. Like, I'm not going to, like, sit here, to joke. But, again, like, she was involved in the conversation. It wasn't, like, some, like, backroom conversation. Like, he was tagging her. She wants to go find her. Feel free. But at the same time...
This wasn't a DM conversation. This is Twitter. Is a Twitter thread from accounts that are not private. So, I mean, nobody can be this stupid to not know that if you want to see tweets from an account that are blocked, that you're blocked from seeing, or that you have blocked or whatever, it's very easy to see just by using a browser. Yeah, it's not that hard. Everybody knows that. So it is really ridiculous to accuse someone of stalking you when you're also blocked from seeing their tweets and you're talking about the tweets.
And the
So,
amount of times
you know.
that I see Dan Albright on my timeline getting dragged, and I'm like, he has me blocked because I call him a war criminal. Chance that I get like tortures of war, but like the amount of times that I've logged out, and I go search the person who tweeted it so that I could see what they were responding to. Is this a good time for me to post the Mother Jones story or not? I go from there, whether or not I'm going to make fun of them. But like again, it's common sense that if you see your name mentioned by somebody who has you blocked, log out and look. It's not a big deal. Everybody does it. You can't sit there and say that, oh, they're stalking and harassing me the exact same.
You don't even have to log out. Just use the incognito. It's easy.
Yeah, some of us.
If you're talking about me, it's not weird for me to go look at it.
No, exactly.
You're talking about me. I'm allowed to fucking consume that. You know, like once you're talking about me, then you know whether I'm blocked or not. It's not unusual that I would go look at it. I want to know what you're saying.
Saying something.
If you don't want me to know, then say it in private.
Yeah, exactly. Like hey, I'm putting it out publicly to be. It's not like I'm doing like private account or a direct message. It's out in public for people to. So obviously everybody's going to read it. I'm not tweeting it with the idea that it's not going to be seen by the intended target. I just think it's funny how quickly it gets back to you.
Right. Yeah. When they accused me the other day of tweeting about them from my private account, I put up a screen record scrolling back 5 days of my tweets. There were 0 tweets about anybody. None.
There was something suspect on that, and I forget what it was. I was going to call you out on it. Oh yeah, you had Euphoria as one of your tags that I should follow if I follow you watch a show about 14 or being sexually active.
Never take the time to watch that show. I never did. Whenever
I will say this, Drew, when your son gets older, you should watch that show.
Yeah, no, I can't do it. I tried. It's weird. Like it's high school. You know?
Also, I tweeted about Euphoria from the Wear Purple Pants account. I didn't tweet about it from my personal.
I wonder if it knows that you're like linked, that you're logged in from the same IP. That shows.
Well, I'm sure. No, it's just my IP address. Yeah.
No, I was gonna make fun of you for that, and I was like, yes.
When everyone was getting hyped for that show every Sunday, I was always waiting for after because I watched The Righteous Gemstones.
I watched the.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There was a clip that came out of like the big death thing, and it was literally the stupidest thing I've ever watched in my entire life. And I was like, all right, this confirmed that I will hate.
That actually, if we're going to talk about the show, that was the low point of the entire series. I mean, that was not in line with the rest of it.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, you have like a 10-year-old with a fucking face tattoo shooting a SWAT officer. He's sad. Don't shoot cops, and they're probably not a good way to live life. Maybe don't like lay on the floor and fake dead a shotgun, pop one.
You know an awful lot about the show.
I watched that one clip, and then I watched the first maybe 2 or 3 episodes because I know who Zendaya is because she was in one of the Spider-Man movies before that, and so I thought it was about college kids because I'm like, all right, like whatever, college drugs.
I mean, these are all like 25, 30-year-old people.
Well, just weird. It's just weird for me to watch it. It's just like I don't know, like I could never get into it. And like I love HBO shows, and it always shows up in my you should watch this.
It's actually like a horror series to me because it's like if this is what high school kids are like now, I'm fucking terrified.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you like from personal experience, I don't think I saw anything harder than cocaine. Like I'd heard of heroin like that. I don't think I ever saw that until college. And now they got heroin addicts and pill addicts. The show has like 14-year-olds in it.
An idiot dog. Come here.
I gotta get one of those.
Come on.
I'm gonna get a Rottweiler to defend my home. People threatened. That's the go-to of some of our victim alleged that threaten them and show up at
this gigantic fucking brontosaurus.
Big fella. Yeah, so he could protect you when somebody inevitably shows up at your home over it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the craziest fucking accusation that's been made.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try. Oh, the Black Air Force. That was fucking.
Oh God.
It was the fact that I had to explain that like legitimately to people. I was like, do you guys live under a rock? Like, and I was like, I googled Black Air Force with gun, and
you could tell by looking at the picture. It was taken in like 2006.
I mean, do I strike you as the kind of person that sleeps in a twin-size bed with fucking flannel sheets?
with flannel sheets?
Like, come on. Like, Jesus. I mean,
you're a big guy. Big guys don't sleep on flannel sheets. That's not a match.
Fucking disgusting. I would sweat my dick off every night. Like, I just couldn't, Yeah, that was the most bizarre one. So I'm like, there's no way people actually think this is real, right? Because people were tweeting me like it was real, but they were kids that like I follow, so they knew I was joking. So they were like, "Oh my God, don't do it, Drew!" Like fucking around. And then some verified reporter like quote tweeted it with like, "This is Greg Roman hate gone too far." And then all of a sudden Lindsay's like, "Oh, somebody who's been threatening and harassing me for months now owns a gun." My God, I was like, I really have to explain this to you.
And that hers is the one that caught that might be her most popular tweet of all time.
Yeah, so, saying that like I threaten and harass her and I own a gun. I'm like, yeah, no, that's
The tone of that tweet was that you like that was your like outfit to come and murder her. It was fucking crazy.
I clearly
It had
said I'm
nothing
gonna-
to do. Not even like it wasn't even a vague suggestion that had anything to do with her. And it was very clear it was a joke. It was very clear that the picture was not taken by you. It was like this is insane. But the amount of people who were like, "Oh my God, he's coming for you," or like it was like, "What the fuck?"
My 4 tweets before that were saying, "I hope somebody throws a smoke grenade into the booth where Greg Roman is." I photoshopped Greg Roman at the January 6th riots. And then I said something about, like, it would be a real shame if the electricity went out at the stadium and they had to manually call plays so Greg Roman couldn't get him in from the booth. And then I tweeted that I'm going to go pay him a visit when he gets home with that picture.
Yep.
Well, and the funniest part about you saying, like, I'm going to pay him a visit when he gets home, you don't live in fucking Baltimore.
I live nowhere near Baltimore. I'm going to drive 8 hours to Owings Mills to go visit Greg Roman. Jesus.
And that's not a secret that you don't live in Baltimore. So
It's pretty clear from looking at my profile. I have, a lot of teams that I like that are in one specific, and I like the Ravens.
Right.
Like, I've never understood that whole thing. There are people up to this day where it's like, "Oh, you don't live in Baltimore?" I'm like, I fucking live in Baltimore.
I knew that from the second I interacted with you. It's crazy. So yeah. Anyway, so if Lindsay happens to listen to this,
He's hanging on.
fucking relax, dude. Jesus Christ.
No, don't relax. Keep it going, but it's not going to end well. You're just going to get sad every night and chug your bottles of Arbor Mist and cry yourself to sleep in front of your NSYNC picture.
There you go. But yeah, fucking. I think I've interacted with her once.
I
Back
assume
in
you were blocked.
October. Yeah. Oh no, I got blocked. Like I don't know when, but I think her and I had a conversation once, and entirely about football. Polite disagreement. That's it. But
She has people blocked that follow me, like real life friends
Yeah.
of mine that I tweeted who are like, "Who the fuck is this person? Why am I blocked?" I'm like, "Well, it's because I follow you and I interact."
well, fuck it. I couldn't care less regardless. Because I mean, as y'all know, I tweet very little. You'll catch likes. Maybe you'll catch a retweet or something. That's
Couple
about
soft
it, really.
When I see a Jake like, I'm like, oh, Jake's on the internet today.
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
much. It's like, oh, I got a break from work. What am I fucking looking at right now? Oh, this. All right, cool.
Jake didn't stick his fingers in any live sockets.
Thank God. That's right. Yeah, fucking electricity, man. That hurts. Fortunately, I haven't been shocked in a while, so that's cool. The last time I got shocked, I discovered there were 2 power sources in one outlet box, and that was fun.
Probably not. Being shocked doesn't seem like fun.
Oh, it was literally exciting, and not in a good way.
I can only
Not-
imagine.
Not in a good way. But I mean, it's like if there's something plugged in and being operated and you get shocked, that'll hurt. If there's nothing plugged in and you get shocked, depending on the voltage, it's like getting an unwanted cup of coffee. Just don't play with your dryer receptacle. That'll hurt.
So
But-
don't take a fork and stick it in a live outlet.
No, because then you're just trying to be fucking Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks trying to get back into the Red Room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a good idea. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm glad that you could
Nope.
confirm as a professional. I shouldn't do
I'm-
that. Hey, that's
mean-
analysis. That's real analysis coming from a professional, not some
That's right.
fake Twitter.
When
I
I
mean,
was a
I'm-
kid, I stuck a screwdriver into my ceiling fan, like where the little chain sticks out.
Yeah.
It literally blasted me off. I was standing in my bed. It
Yeah.
blasted me against the wall. Like it was fucking crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting electrocuted is wild.
Well, that and I mean, the way they used to run wiring was fucked up. Like, nowadays in a new house, you could realistically not have to turn off your circuit breaker and put in a light or a ceiling fan because there's one set of wires coming up and it doesn't get turned on unless you turn on the light switch. And if someone turns on the light switch while you're working on it, you call them a fucking asshole and say stop doing that, and then you tape it off. Back in the day, they used to run power to your light, and then back to your switch, and then back to your light. So no matter what, unless you went downstairs to shut off the breaker, you're going to get hit by a wire that wasn't supposed to be live. So that's just, and oftentimes they didn't like to use grounds. So if something's not grounded and something touches something else that's not supposed to touch, you will get hit, you will get hurt, you could die, and there will be black marks on your ceiling. That That's what happens.
That's day one of electrician school right there.
Yes,
I should have you come over to my house because an electrician used to live here, and
Yeah.
he like rewired the whole place. The shit that he has going on downstairs, I just turn everything off if I need to. Like I had to lower my fan, and I was like, I don't know what this is plugged into. I'm gonna die if I touch it, so I just turned all the electricity off to the house. I'm like, this is because I'm sure
All of
there's
it.
shit going into like the fan that would just fucking put me on my ass and like.
He just
kill me.
took the thing on the side of the breaker box. Like, nope, I'm turning it all off. I'm just going
That's
fucking
exactly what it
flashlight.
Looking, I had it, and it was like living room, blah blah, and I'm like, I could turn this off, but I was like, but the chances that it's wired, there are like outlets in my bedroom that like switches, like full switchboards that I can't tell what they operate. Like I flick them on and off, nothing turns on and off. I'm like, that's probably like connected to something downstairs that I'm not seeing turn on and off from upstairs. And like I try to unscrew this fan, and I'm just gonna fucking blow up. So I'm like, I'm just gonna turn everything off.
Your neighbor's bedroom light goes on and off when you switch it up.
Garage doors opening and closing, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Could be an abandoned circuit, could be a plug, because they like to do that back in the day where you would run power to your light switch, you run a switch leg off of that into a plug to where you can use that for a lamp. Like I have that in my apartment and all that because I decided not to put a light fixture in my room, but yeah, it's fine. Plug in the lamp, turn on the light switch, boom, you got light in here. But yeah, unless you have some funky shit going on, because you have some funky shit going on in your room, in your house, good chance
there's some stuff in.
I was gonna say, because like if there's some fucked up wiring, I would question whether that dude is an electrician or if he was a fucking handyman, because handymen are the fucking worst, and I can go on a long tirade about those assholes. Why? Because somebody will call. I'm not gonna use any names on account of not being a fucking racist, unlike my boss. I mean, no disrespect to the man, he's a funny ass dude, but I'm not gonna use. I'll be like, say someone calls Billy Bob to your house, like, hey Billy Bob, my outlet's not working. Can you fix that? All right, sure, no problem. Give me a fucking 12-pack of what the fuck is it? Pabst. Give me a 12-pack of Pabst. We'll call it good. Maybe $50. I'll go do some shit. They'll fuck up your wiring and then cause a much bigger issue downstream to where all your wires are burned up to the very back of the box, and then you gotta call me to come fix it. And I'm sitting there like, why the fuck didn't you call me in the first place? Sure, I'm a little pricier, but then you're not having to deal with this shit or aluminum wiring. Because this is why I don't like to go do work in the hood, because oftentimes the wiring is especially fucked up in the hood. Stockton.
Slumlords.
Yeah, it's just like aluminum wiring, man. That shit, like, it doesn't immediately trip your breaker. It just burns, melts your wire nuts, and then all of a sudden, when I'm trying to fix some shit, I would have to tear open your sheetrock in the wall just to get some fucking rinky-dink shit until I actually fix it. So it's like, thank God they don't use aluminum wire for that anymore. Your ovens, they still do, but that's fine. That's just goes from your breaker box to your oven. That's it. There's nothing in between that can be fucked up in that. But
yeah, I mean, if this guy could fuck it up, he might have. My studs are not like 18 inches apart like they're supposed to. They're like 10.5. So I've discovered a lot of fun stuff.
It'd be like that. But anywho, it was good shooting the shit with y'all, and that'll do for this elongated episode of the Zone 32 podcast. We will be back at some other point to discuss the draft, further moves, and everything in between, and maybe more electricity. Maybe I'll be alive, but who knows? Meanwhile, I'm gonna make a noise.
Grant Derflinger, Jake Miller, the infamous Drew.
Zone 32.